Hello, this video is sponsored by BritBox, the premier streaming service for Britain's most beloved TV shows. I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to weird quirks. Specifically, weird quirks that I found in my new American house. And when I say new American house, I mean my new American house, not a house that's new. You see, something I didn't tell you, though perhaps you worked it out on your own, is that this house wasn't built yesterday. That's both figurative and literal. In fact, this entire building was built in 1942. And as such, many of the quirks that I found out about it are throwbacks to that particular time in the history of American housing. In other words, the things that I'm going to show you in this very video are not the sorts of things you would expect to find on a house built in the 21st century. Now, it is possible that some of these things were replicated in England, or they happened in England first and America replicated them. Perhaps that's something that we can argue out in the comments section, so if you're not subscribed to this channel, do that now. Without further ado, let's go and take a look at some quirky bits and bobs. It's locked again. I'm Lawrence Brown and I have a confession to make. A couple of weeks ago when I showed you around my entire house, there were in fact a couple of rooms that I never showed you. And one of them is here in this door behind me. And the reason that I didn't show you it at the time is because it was really quirky and I didn't have the emotional intelligence to explain it. And thought to myself, why don't I save it for a video on quirky features of my house? And while you try to guess what's behind this door, I'm going to enter it and take you in with me, not literally. Alright, come along. Alright, we are now in said room, and as you can see, it's an elevator! I'm kidding. This is, in fact, a toilet, or a little bathroom. And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, Lawrence, what is weird about a toilet? Everything's weird about a toilet, but this one in particular is unusual because it's just a toilet. There's no sink or place to wash your hands. And I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this before, so I looked it up. It turns out that this weird quirk was once not weird in the least. Up to the Second World War, American houses that had basements were often equipped with these lone toilets. But there's something else. They'd often be accompanied by showers that would be in this sort of wider basement area. Interestingly enough, my particular basement doesn't seem to have had one of those showers, but this basement does have something that those lone toilets were also often accompanied by, and that's the laundry room that I showed you the other day. And finally, having used the toilet and expertly opened the door without touching the door handle, you then walk all the way over here to this very, very beautiful sink. And I've since learned that this combination of things, a lone toilet, a shower and a laundry room, are especially common in old 20th century basements in Pittsburgh. Why is that, Lawrence? Well, the story goes that this entire setup was used by steel workers. After a long, grueling day at work, they would come home, enter through perhaps a side door or a different entrance to the main house. They'd go downstairs, maybe use the toilet, pop their dirty work clothes into the laundry machine, have a shower, Bob's your uncle, they're clean, and then they can go upstairs into the main part of the house without dirtying the rest of the house. These days, things are quite a bit different. That lone toilet is a place that I can go for 40 minutes to think thoughts such as, how will I feel when I get to 1 million subscribers? Or how does the people's elbow hurt more than a regular elbow? You join me now in the hallway in front of yet another door, and you're probably thinking, what's behind that other door, Lawrence? Just the kitchen, you've seen it before. Because the quirky feature in question isn't that or this beautiful banister. It is, in fact, this. And you're probably thinking, ew, what? It's just a hole in the wall with a little shelf on it. And at first, this is what I thought. It would make a nice place to store a vase or an empty coffee cup temporarily. But the more that I've been digging into features of old American houses, the more I've come to discover that cubby holes like this one, usually found in the hallway of old American homes opposite the staircase, had a very specific purpose. And that purpose was a place to store your phone. And remember, this is the first half of the 20th century, so we're not talking about phones like this. But initially, those big old landline phones. And these were once so common in American houses that they even had a name. It's typically referred to as a phone niche, or niche, as some Americans might say. And homeowners would have to just come to this very specific part of the house to receive or make a phone call. However, in post-World War II America, new houses didn't really feature this anymore, and in the day and age of smartphone technology, I've no need for a landline. This is particularly great news for my cat though, who seems to have claimed the spot as his own. I can see myself finding him here in the middle of the night, broodily gazing into the distance like an intergalactic antagonist torn between feelings of affection for his father and the unrelenting desire to betray him. But it's chilling to think that millions of people, now long gone, perhaps never imagined a world in which this once common feature would become obsolete. Such is life. I dare say we're doing the same thing right now with laptop computers and Taco Bell. And speaking of things that went missing, did you ever hear the one about the British politician who faked his own death off the coast of Florida? And no, this isn't the setup for a "he was lost in the pond" joke. It's something that actually happened in real life. And why am I telling you any of this? Well, the story in question is the focus of the latest BritBox original, that's why. Stonehouse is the true story of John Stonehouse, a scandal-riddled MP whose apparent death made international headlines in 1974. Matthew Macfadyen, who you might recognise from Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley, is fantastic in the title role because he really encapsulates the narcissism which would prove Stonehouse's undoing.
Unfortunately, I have to go away.
And don't tell my wife this, but the other day when I was supposed to be unpacking boxes, I chilled out on the sofa and watched all 3 episodes in one go. Stonehouse is a really intriguing dramatisation of a political event that, oddly, I wasn't familiar with, but that would have absolutely set social media ablaze had it happened today. And you can start streaming this as well as your other favourite British shows via your smartphone, tablet, desktop, Chromecast, Apple TV or Roku device, as well as LG and Samsung smart TVs. Head to BritBox.com/LostInThePond and use the promo code LostInThePond when signing up for a monthly subscription, and you'll get 50% off your first month. The link is also in my description below. And finally, here I am outside in the tundra in my back garden. It's currently about -12 degrees Celsius or 10 Fahrenheit. And the thing that I want to show you is partially buried under the snow. So give me a second, I'm just going to shovel it off. Underneath this slab is what looks like a kind of drain lid, but it's not a drain lid. It is a lid that's covering a sealed off coal chute. That's right, before World War II, many, if not most American homes were heated using not natural gas, but coal. Believe it or not, coal delivery men would go door to door to replenish each house's stock. Sort of like when a milkman brings you milk or Capital One brings you free toilet paper. It would be delivered into a coal chute like the one out in my yard, and often arriving down that chute into the basement where the homeowners would then shovel it into the furnace. And I've got to say, coal chutes are cool shit. This one, like many of their kind, has since been sealed, but it forever remains a reminder of 2 things: our coal-powered past and a painful accident I had on my way to the mudroom last Friday. Thanks for watching. That's it for this episode. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS. And right now, you, yes you, are going to watch this video about home objects that I only encountered after moving to America. All of these videos are made entirely possible by my patrons. If you would like to support this channel and become a patron yourself, you can do so today at patreon.com/LostInThePond. Until the next video, goodbye.